Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 2 for the PC. The game was developed by Nihal Falcom and was published by Exceed Games and Marvelous. The game was released in 2018 for the PC and is the second part in the series which continues straight after the events of the first game. However, as I'm sure you're all wondering, is it any good though? Is this a great sequel to a brilliant game? Or is this just an absolute utter mess like what happened with Xenosaga 2? Well, look no further, as here's more details on what this game has to offer. The game's plot takes straight after the events of the first game, where Reen, now inside Velmir, has fled from battle against Crow and has now been missing for over a month. Reen wakes up on top of a mountain with Celine, only to find out that he's been unconscious for over a month and that war has broken out across the continent. It's from here which your new journey will begin, as you'll travel to past locations from the first game and then venture onto new ones in search to reunite with the rest of the team from Class 7. During the quest to reunite with your teammates, you'll learn a lot more about the war which has started, and also come to find out about a few unsolved mysteries from the first game. The plot in general itself is really quite good and exceptionally well told, and a vast improvement on the first game, which I felt was a little slow at times. The pacing in this game feels much better, but really I feel that's more down to because of the situation that the characters now find themselves in. With the first game, everything was okay and everyone took things rather easily, and everyone was generally rather relaxed about everything around them. Now however, the cast find themselves at the beginning of a war, which is obviously going to change everyone's perspective on things. Cold Steel 2 has a returning cast of characters from the first game, but with this instalment you can now play as additional characters which you couldn't previously. So this time around we get to play as Captain Claire, Torval, Sharon and a host of other characters from the first instalment and a few new ones in this one. Character development has also gotten better, as you'll learn a lot more about each of the individual characters, be it from their past events to their current ones. Whilst the first game in this series did a great job of introducing you to these characters, this game will expand a lot more on them and leave you wanting to know more about them once it's all said and done. The gameplay for the game is essentially identical to that of the very first one, with a few added features and a couple of tweaks in a few other places. The game handles like your traditional JRPG, where you have the option of attack, magic, items and so forth. You now have the added ability to chain attacks with other team members, use new magic skills, do group attacks, and now with this episode, we now have the new option in combat where you can use Velmir and have giant mech battles. This feature was something that was present in the first Trials of Cold Steel game, but was only available at the very end of that game. This time around, there are a lot more mech battles in this game, and as strange as this might sound to some viewers, in my opinion, they do feel very familiar to the mech battles that are present in the epic game known as Xenosaga 3. Graphics wise, the game follows suit with the first Trials of Cold Steel game in that it uses the same game engine, and also that it reuses a lot of resources from the first game as well. Personally, I like the fact that Falcom did this, as it keeps the game to what it is, and part of what made the first game so enjoyable in the first place. Trust me, there's nothing worse than getting into a series of games, falling in love with the first instalment, and being bowled over by how amazing the gameplay, story, graphics, and everything else is. Then you go on to play the second instalment, only to find out that the developers had this crazy idea to change practically everything about it, from the gameplay, the way the characters look, and everything else. So, although I do see a fair few things reused in this game from the first, graphics wise I'm very happy because it keeps to the standard of what the first game is and improves upon it without distancing itself too much from how it's meant to look. As I stated with the graphics section, the game does reuse some material from the first game, so as a result of this you'll be finding yourself returning to various locations from the first game, but with things changed around a bit since the world has broken out. So things will look the same, but they'll look a little bit different. An example of this is when you reach the small market town in the first game, only to find out that it is now full of soldiers, basically pushing their weight around, upsetting everyone around there, and getting on everyone's nerves. Another example is when you go to Laura's hometown, only to find out that it's now been encased in thick fog, and matters only get worse when the armies show up when you least expect it. So, although you do return to a lot of locations from the first game in this one, you are shown a big difference in these places due to what's happening around you with the war. You do see people on edge, you do see people struggling to make ends meet, you see cruelty, and you also see good in others. So whilst you do get loads of new locations to explore in this game, it's actually the previous places which you went to in the first which I like the most, as you could physically see the impact that the war was having on people's lives. Well, if you're at this point in the review and are wondering if Trials of Cold Steel 2 is worth it, well, the answer is a pretty obvious one. Yes, it definitely is worth purchase. The game is a fantastic game, it's got a great bunch of characters, great combat, beautiful locations, mech battles, and a whole lot more which I can mention, but I don't want to because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. However, I will say this. Clearly, you should play the first game in the series, and dare I even say before even that, you should go and play Trials in the Sky series before even doing that. You can skip Trials in the Sky if you really want to, and just start from Cold Steel 1, but in doing so you're going to miss out on a lot of references in this game and the previous one, which will play an important part later on in the series as the game progresses. So don't go thinking that you can just jump straight in with Cold Steel 2, because if you do, then you're just going to be lost on everything and everyone around you. It is best to start from the first game, and possibly even before that, start with Trials in the Sky, to get the full amount out of this game. Would I recommend Legend of Heroes Trials of Cold Steel 2? Yes, I definitely would. I would even dare go one step further and say that in my own personal opinion, it's one of the best JRPGs out there. Well, that's it for this review guys, thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and please subscribe.